friends are since.
For those of you that are regular viewers of this channel, you'll be aware that recently I was over in Seoul, South Korea, and whilst I was there, I was on a bit of a mission to try and find some interesting vinyl records that I could sample and make music from. Now the idea was to find records that I wouldn't be able to get back here in Glasgow, Scotland very easily, and I came away with a whole bunch of different records, 45-inch Japanese singles, LPs from old Korean pop acts and things like that, and I've started to go through them and find some bits and pieces that I like, and I've created my first track. Now what I thought I'd do for this is walk you through the process I've taken to make the bit of music, and then I'll play it out on my Akai Force, rather than, you know, just playing it and that being it. You get involved a wee bit more in this way. In future, my plan is to go through my workflow in a wee bit more detail as I do it. However, for this particular track, I'm using some different hardware that I've never used before, so I wanted to kind of get a grips on it before I started talking about it as I go. So, let's take a look. This is the setup for my vinyl sampling. Please forgive the fact that there's a whole bunch of mess in the background. I'm in my living room because my turntable is here. I would love to have another turntable in my studio, but there's not enough space, so for now I'm having to do things here. Anyway, for this first track, I took this 45-inch Japanese single. I think this is somebody called Sachiko Kobayashi, however my Japanese reading skills are not particularly great. I think this comes from 1980. One thing that I found I really like about 45-inch singles, actually, compared to LPs, is that when you're sampling them, it can be overwhelming when you've got a full album to listen through and try and remember bits that you like. But with the 45-inch, I can basically just record the whole thing and then chop it up later. Anyway, my workflow for this has been, I've got my turntable here. It's a Reloop RP1000M. It allows me to control the speed of things much more easily than some other turntables. It's got a nice wee slider. From there, I'm recording the vinyl straight into this beautiful beast. This is the Yamaha SU700. Now, I only got this literally a week or so ago, and I'm still trying to figure out how everything works. However, it is a sampler, sequencer, and kind of effects machine extraordinaire. The thing I really like about this is it's very quick and easy to sample into, and then you can kind of adjust the samples using the various effects that you can stack up and modulate with the LFOs. It gives the samples a nice bit of character, particularly because when you sample in, you can do so at a variety of different sample rates, bit dips and all that sort of stuff. Somebody outside has clearly decided to fucking go on their motorbike, right, as I'm trying to record this video. Now, there is a sequencer within the SU700 that I could ostensibly use to create tracks from my samples with. However, in this case, the arrangement that you're about to hear was not produced using the sequencer in the SU700 for a variety of reasons. First of all, the sequencer, well, I'm still trying to figure out how it works, and it was kind of getting in the way of me just making music, so I thought I would stick with something that I was more familiar with. Secondly, the sequencer seems more oriented towards techno and loops and that kind of thing, not necessarily more lo-fi kind of off-grid hip-hop stuff as I wanted to do for this particular song. Thirdly, there is no internal hard drive in the SU700. There is only floppy disks. And that means that because I've maxed out the RAM in this to 68 meg RAM, I can record quite a lot into it. But if I want to save anything, then, well, at the moment I can't. Now, I thought about getting a virtual floppy disk drive so that I could save more on here and kind of do more with it. However, 68 megabytes RAM, 1.44 megabytes per floppy disk, you can see the problem. I would need something like 50 virtual floppies. So, for now, I'm just using the SU700 to kind of grit up my samples and as a first stage in the capture process. So once I'd recorded my vinyl into the SU700, I then played it back from the SU700 into my Akai Force, which is lurking over here in the corner. This is something that I've become more and more familiar with and also happy with over the past few months. I'm finding this to be a really, really useful tool when it comes to sampling and composing this kind of music. Now, I basically recorded everything in here from my SU700. I then chopped it up and then I layered on different drum kits and other effects and things that I had found in my sample library. Now, at this point, I've got a bunch of different loops and sections sections of my track, but I haven't actually finalised the composition yet. And to do that, I'm going to play in what I think feels right at the time live into the arranger on the Akai Force. That will then kind of cement the song together, and I can export the individual stems. I'll upload them to Patreon, and I can also do some further processing and logic to get it to sound just the way I want. And I'm going to do that on camera, so when you see me playing it, that is the actual final arrangement that's been recorded into the Force. I've not kind of done it beforehand or anything like that. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go record the actual track, and then you can hear in real time the very first bit of music that I've put together using some of my vinyl that I discovered in Seoul, South Korea. And yes, I'm aware this is a Japanese vinyl, but I mean, I'm sorry.